I think most people understand what doxing is and what doxing is not. Doxing is when you put something out on the internet about somebody that they don't want made public, that they have not themselves made public. That's doxing. If somebody makes their information public and you put that information out there in a piece of content, that's not doxing. I say that so that we can examine this email that I got. I've blocked out the name and email address of the person that sent this. Hi, Tom. My name is blank. I have discovered your content over the past few months. I think that you may be familiar with me as I post comments on your videos all the time. I genuinely enjoy your content. You have an interesting life story, and like me, you have been around and around and around the block. You are personable and charming, and generally have good takes on life, politics, and the weather. Roll one for me, would you? I'm out. Thank you very much for the kind words. But I have never understood how behavior outside of work should impact your job. If you do something illegal, yes, the police arrest you, and you tend to lose your job for not showing up to work while being in jail. But free speech is just that, free speech. Now, I understand about the consequences of free speech, but the idea that someone says something that you don't like and you make it your mission to find them and dox them and get them fired from their job borders on obscene. Who made you judge, jury, and executioner of public free speech? You do this shit all the time. Who made you the arbiter of good taste? Why is your opinion so much more important than you can follow someone around, so to speak, and queer every relationship they have just because you don't like something they said? It's batshit crazy. You are the reason ICE agents wear masks, at least if you hear them tell it. You are not as active about this as others, and you tend to limit your posts to people who batter or assault people, not just talk. Your obsession with Chud the Builder is kind of borderline here. Up until he killed someone, all he was doing was auditing strangers' morals. His technique is deplorable, but it is still just speech. Does the Supreme Court classify the N-word as fighting words? I genuinely do not know. By the way, Tom, you are pushing against the ocean. For every racist, misogynist, homophobe piece of shit that you out, there are 100 million behind them. How about some tolerance for views that don't align with yours? Let people be people, i.e. let them be assholes. You don't have to remotely punish them. Their immediate environment will take care of that for you if you are simply patient. You recently made a video about the death threats and bomb threats that you have received since becoming a social media content creator. How is doxing someone any different? How is finding their employer and exposing them and causing them economic destruction any different? And by the way, what business is it of yours if an employer wants to keep a racist on the payroll? Tom, your behavior in this area is concerning. I know you dropped out of high school, but I bet you were the bully when you were there. Try being the bigger man. Idiots will ultimately get their due. No need for you to involve yourself in the hastening of that process. I know this firsthand as an idiot who has gotten my due plenty. Love your content. Otherwise, I hope you take this in the spirit it was intended. I want you to succeed, and I think you draw more flies with honey than with vinegar. I wouldn't go to the length of directly emailing you if I didn't think this needed your attention. I would leave it to chance, but you happen upon it. As you scroll through your comments. Keep up the good work, sincerely, and he signed his name. So first things first, I don't dox people. That's not what I do. Anything that I put in a piece of content is something that somebody has already made public. If somebody has not made public where they work, I don't make where they work public. If somebody has not made public where they live, I don't make where they live public. If somebody has not made public a piece of information about their life, I don't make it public. I only put the stuff out there that's publicly known. That's not doxing. The second thing I'd like to address, no, I'm not the reason why ICE agents wear masks. ICE agents wear masks because they're Nazi coward piece of shit motherfuckers. And they should become unemployable for life for what they're doing. See, you said that I should have tolerance for views that are opposing to mine. No, I shouldn't. I should have tolerance to views that are opposing to mine that don't harm people. If somebody on the other side of the political aisle has a disagreement in domestic economic policy, they want to take a different path towards economic stability, let's say. Sorry. They believe that economic stability lies in giving tax breaks to the wealthy. I believe economic stability lies in giving tax breaks to the working class and taxing the wealthy more. We have a difference of agreement. That I can have tolerance for the viewpoint. I can still disagree with it and have tolerance with it. However, what we're talking about in today's day and age isn't tolerance of a difference of opinion. It's tolerance of people who literally, in the case of ICE, murder American citizens on the street. We're talking about tolerance of people who want people locked in concentration camps, have their lives destroyed forever and ever, amen. We're talking about people who, much to the topic of the video here, would actually dox people if they didn't properly mourn Charlie Kirk's assassination and cost them their jobs. I have a friend in California who lost his job. Oddly enough, not even from the right, but from the left, doxing him. Nobody made me the arbiter of anything. But if I see something egregious, I'm going to call that shit out. You're goddamn right I'm going to continue to call that shit. If somebody is out there running around calling people the N-word to try and provoke them into physical altercations, yes, I think it is our duty to make sure that the people who would employ somebody like that know who they have on staff. And in some cases, they don't care. They keep the person employed, and so be it. In some cases, they don't want anything to do with that. And that's called consequences for your actions, something that you said in your email that you understood. Well, if you understand it, why are you questioning it? If there aren't consequences, it gets worse and worse and worse. And eventually, we get a Chud the Builder type of scenario where it's not just words. Eventually, somebody's going to pull a gun and shoot somebody because there are no consequences to the way people like that behave. But now, Chud has discovered that there are consequences to the way he behaves. I appreciate the kind words. I appreciate the things that you had to say and the intent in which the email was sent. However, I don't dox people, and yes, I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. If that means you can't follow me as a result of it, I understand. I would love for you to stay here and continue to follow me, but if you feel like you can't, I totally understand it. But I think that people need to be held accountable for the things that they've done. Lord knows I've been held accountable many, many times over my lifetime. I've had people that did not want to do work with me because of what I had to say. And I understood it. If these people don't want to have consequences for their words, then maybe they should not put the things that the places that they work and where they live in public accounts, or they should not say things that are going to cause people to go after their jobs.